Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list and welcome to my top 10 favorite swords and sandals movie. Yes, some people might be wondering, what is a sword and sandals movie? Well, I'm here to tell you that. Swords and sandals comes from the word peplum, peplum meaning, swords and sandals meaning, Greek and Roman biblical epic movies and stuff. That's kind of what it is and stuff. It mostly was inspired in the Italian cinema and stuff, and it basically became more of American cinema and stuff, mostly about Greek and Roman mythology, biblical, war epic movies and stuff. Yeah, you all know what I'm talking about. You know, your Ben-Hurs, your Cleopatras, your Ten Commandments and stuff. That is what a swords and sandals movie is. No, it is not a movie just with swords and actual sandals. It's not like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is not a swords and sandals movie. Seven Samurai is not a swords and sandals movie. No, they are derived from the word peplum, meaning biblical, war epic movies and stuff. That is what a swords and sandals movie is. However, there is not a lot of great swords and sandals movies. Well, not lately. Back in the classic film era days, there was amazing swords and sandals films, but we haven't had a good Swords and Sandals movie in quite some time. Last year we had Gods of Egypt, which was the last Swords and Sandals film, and that movie was fucking awful. However, though, there are good ones, and I'm here to count down my top 10 favorite Swords and Sandals movie. Alright, let's get to it. And for a top 10 list, you gotta have your honorable mentions. Not a lot. I only have 3 honorable mentions, and those movies are History of the World Part 1, Julius Caesar, and the original Clash of the Titans, 1981. Great films, just couldn't make the top 10 list, but what did make my top 10 was my number 10, and my number 10 is Quo Vadis. Quo Vadis is a fascinating, interesting movie. So good. I love this movie. I love the performances. I love its style. The scope and size is great, and I love the style, the costumes, the production. Everything about this movie is done really good. It's a movie of the times. This movie was made in, I think, the early 50s and stuff. It was really well done. So freaking good. I love Peter Ustinov's performance. I think he steals this entire movie as the Caesar, as this mad, crazy Caesar and stuff. He's fucking insane, this movie. This movie does feel a little overlong and a little drawn out, but it works for the atmosphere and the scope and size of its story. It's definitely not the best Swords and Sandals movie, and it's definitely took a lot of tropes from other Swords and Sandals movies that came up before it, but it's still a great movie with a great scope, great size, great cinematography, amazing production, and for the time, it was just a really good epic film. Bit dated now, but still a very good film. Coming number 9 is 300. Yes, Spartans, tonight we dine in hell. 300 is a movie filled with a little too much testosterone. Zack Snyder directed this movie. This is when we all had hope for Zack Snyder. Batman v Superman sure ruined that, and Justice League will crush that if it's terrible. But Zack Snyder had a really good, promising career with 300, Legend of the Guardians, Watchmen, Dawn of the Dead. 300 is a good movie. It's not amazing, but it's a good movie. King Leonidas, played by Gerard Butler, is a good performance. David Wenham, Lena Headey, Dominic Cooper, all good in this movie. The visual style is what really makes it, because it's like a graphic novel. It's like a graphic novel, but just put on the screen, just like Sin City is. And it's beautiful. The visuals, the green screen effect, it looks beautiful. The fight scenes are brutal, gory, disgusting, disturbing, and they're freaking awesome and badass to watch. Mostly people watch it for its visual style, its action scenes, and yeah, its brutality too. And that's what makes it interesting and entertaining to watch. The brutality, the visuals, the style, the action, and of course the costumes and production look great. Not an amazing movie, but still a damn fun, entertaining movie. Coming number 8 is Conan the Barbarian. Yes, Conan the Barbarian, I will hunt you all down, because I'm Arnold. Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie, 1982, Conan the Barbarian. Silly, ridiculous, weird, strange, but it fucking works. It's so great. It's epic. I love the score, the soundtrack to this movie. It's freaking awesome. The action scenes are just brutally over the top, and they're great. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan the Barbarian is ridiculous. He looks ridiculous. He's so over the top, but it's awesome, and it just works. Conan the Destroyer went a little too far, and it's not as fun. This one is so fun. This movie has Arnold punching a horse in the face. That's fucking hilarious. It's ridiculous, it's over the top, the story is very predictable, very cliched, but it works. The action, the style, the costumes, they're all really great in this movie. It's just a silly, ridiculous movie and over the top. It's just so fun. Like Arnold, I'm a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I love all his movies. Well, most of his movies, not all of his movies, but most of his movies, a lot of them are very silly, ridiculous, and over the top. But that's what makes them so fun and makes them great guilty pleasures and stuff. But I think this movie actually is good. Like, Commando is a straight guilty pleasure, but this movie actually does have good costumes, a good score, and actually some pretty decent direction. Despite it being very over the top, there is some greatness in this movie, and I do have a lot of fun with this movie every time I watch it. It's just a great Swords and Sandals movie. Number 7 is Cleopatra. Cleopatra is a beautiful movie. Again, a very overlong movie. This movie is like 4 hours long. Like, if you have a whole afternoon of free time, yeah, feel free to watch this movie. This movie is directed by Joseph Mankiewicz. I think that's Ben Mankiewicz's dad from, Turner Classic Movies, What the Flick and stuff. Great director. This movie's phenomenal. The sheer scope and size of it's fantastic. The amount of extras they used for this movie, my god, that must have been tiresome. Again, the scope, the size, the cinematography, the costumes, the production, the makeup is just beautiful. It's so beautiful, the story of Cleopatra with Julius Caesar and stuff. It's an interesting, well-told story, very well directed. Elizabeth Taylor is amazing in this movie. Richard Burton, Martin Landau, all great in this movie. This movie is filled with a great classic cast. I don't know why it's so negative on Rotten Tomatoes. I know a lot of classic film lovers love this movie. I don't know, maybe the current film lovers don't like it. I personally really enjoy Cleopatra. I think it's a fascinating, well-told story with a great scope and size, but also a great, interesting, thought-provoking story, actually. Really, it's really well told, very well written, very well directed, and Elizabeth Taylor's performance. Not her best performance, but still a very good one, and a very iconic performance. And yeah, Cleopatra is a fantastic movie. A little long, but still very good. Coming number 6 is Troy. Yes, you suck a wine. I really like this movie. This is a pretty, again, very mixed reviewed movie on Rotten Tomatoes. I really like this movie. I thought Wolfgang Petersen did a very good job directing this movie. I love Eric Bana, Brad Pitt, Orlando Bloom, Diane Kruger, Brendan Gleeson, Brian Cox. All of them give good performances. This is about the Battle of Troy, about all the Greek armies attacked the Trojans and stuff, but they could never attack that big wall, and that's what, of course, the classic King Odysseus, he built the fake horse, they put it in, and they raided the Trojan city and stuff. But it's also the story about Achilles and stuff, the demigod Achilles, who was blessed, but his Achilles tendons are his only weak spot and stuff. He fought in the war against the Trojans, but he also found love during this war and stuff. And he had to fight against Prince Hector and his brother Paris and stuff. It's a great story. It's big. It's hugely scaled. The cinematography, costumes, and production. I'm going to be saying that a lot because that's what makes it a great Swords and Sandals movie. A scope, a size, production, costumes, but also a very well-told story, a very cohesive story. This movie is fantastic, but what makes it even better, actually, is the director's cut. The movie's like 2 hours, 45 minutes. The director's cut is like 3.5 hours. But it actually adds more raw and grittiness to it. The director's cut is actually a hard R. Like, the original cut is like a mild R-rated film. But the director's cut is like hard R, gruesome shit. And it actually makes it even more entertaining and awesome to watch. Some people don't like this movie, but Troy is definitely a movie I really enjoy. I've been watching ever since it came out in theaters. I actually saw this movie in theaters when it came out. I loved it ever since, and it's a great film. Coming number 5 is The Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments is a great Swords and Sandals story. It's the Moses story. Everyone knows the Moses story about him and his brother Ramesses. Let my people go and stuff, and I really love this movie. It's debatable if it's better than Prince of Egypt, because I love Prince of Egypt just as much. But this movie is great. The only thing I have this against Prince of Egypt, because Prince of Egypt is at least a shorter story with great music and stuff. This is a very overlong movie, and not very necessary, actually. I thought Cleopatra needed its length. This one, however, didn't. But this movie is a better acted movie. Like, Charlton Heston's performance in this movie is brilliant. Same with Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner is amazing. The cinematography, costumes, production look fantastic, too. And it's just a timeless story. A timeless story that people still tell. Like, people are still making remakes of Ten Commandments. Like, they just did a couple years ago. Ridley Scott, Exodus, Gods and Kings, which sucked. But this is just a timeless story, and this is the first movie to do it. And the first movie to do it with the sheer greatness and the sheer style and the sheer scope of it. It's just a very well done movie. A bit long again, it's not needed, some of its length. There's a lot of filler in the movie, but the movie's still amazing. Coming number 4 is Jason and the Argonauts. Jason and the Argonauts, again, a very well directed, very well paced movie, actually. I love the simple story about Jason and the Argonauts going on their mission and stuff. The classic stop motion animation on the skeletons and the scorpions look amazing. I love how actually short and to the point this movie is, and I love how fun and adventurous this movie is. That's the only reason why I like this movie more than Ten Commandments. Ten Commandments is a better movie. Jason the Argonauts is just a much funner movie, and sometimes I just like to have fun with my Swords and Sandals movie, and Jason the Argonauts is one fun movie. Coming number 3 is Gladiator. Yes, Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Yes, Maximus Decimus Meridius. I love this movie. Ridley Scott, hands down, one of his best movies. Not the best, well, one of his best. I love it. Russell Crowe is fantastic in this movie as Maximus. Maximus. I love Oliver Reed in this movie. You sold me queer giraffes. And of course, Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus. He is fantastic in this movie as well. He's very creepy, at times over-the-top villain, but he's really good in this movie. Zhao Manazou is also great in this movie. We shall see each other again, but not yet. I love this movie. It's a great story. It's kind of like the Spartacus story, but also it's a very different take on it about a man who was a soldier. But they tried to kill him, and they did kill his family stuff, and then he became a gladiator and stuff. That's actually the slogan for this movie: a general who became a slave who became a gladiator who defied his emperor. Like, I love that. It's just such a great story, and it's just an amazing told story. Ridley Scott's direction, the writing, the production, cinematography, costumes, all the action scenes in the Colosseum are fantastic, especially the action scene with all the lions and stuff when Maximus is fighting the big dude with the helmet and stuff. Awesome scenes, just so great. There's a lot of creative kills in this movie, a lot of very emotional scenes too, especially near the end of the movie. Oh, strength and honor! I love this movie. It's such a great film, great score, great direction, and hands down one of my favorite Swords and Sandals movie. Come on, it's Gladiator. Coming number 2 is Spartacus. Yes, I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. Well, all Spartacus. Yes, this is Stanley Kubrick's movie, one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick movies. Not my all-time favorites, no 2001 or Eyes Wide Shut, but amazing. I love Spartacus. Kirk Douglas is fantastic in this movie. You got Tony Curtis, Laurence Olivier. Just a huge cast in this movie. Everyone's amazing. The story is tragic and sad, and Peter Ustinov on Quo Vadis is also in Spartacus. This movie's great, though. Again, very tragic, very emotional, hard-hitting story, especially how this movie ends. It's so sad. It always brings tears to my eyes, like, oh my god, Spartacus, what are you doing? This movie's great, though. The costumes, production, the action in this movie's very epic. This is the first classic movie that actually felt like this huge epic. Well, actually, this is my number 1. Yeah, this and my number 1 are like the first action movies that really felt like big, epic movies and stuff. And yeah, I love Spartacus. This movie's brilliant. One of my favorite Swords and Sandals movie, actually, is almost like a tie with my number 1. But my number 1 just a tad better, but this one, amazing. And my number 1 favorite Swords and Sandals movie is Ben-Hur. Hands down, Ben-Hur is brilliant. Again, Charlton Heston back again, but this is a hands down a better performance than in Ten Commandments. Ten Commandments, he's amazing in. But in this movie as Judah Ben-Hur, he is fantastic. Oscar, totally well deserved. The whole supporting cast is fantastic. William Wyler's direction, the sheer scope and size. The chariot racing scene is one of the best action scenes ever. One of the best action scenes in this Swords and Sandals movie. This is hands down my favorite Swords and Sandals movie. I fucking hate that they remade it last year. That movie sucked ass, but this movie is brilliant. The execution, the structure of the story, the performances, the action scenes, the emotionality, the entire scene with Jesus Christ is just a mind-blowing scene. I love this movie. I love it. I love its emotion. I love its characters. I love its story. I love how this movie's paced. I love the score, the music. Everything about Ben-Hur is just done perfectly. It's almost a 4-hour film, but it needed to be that to tell this great, grand, big story. It just works, and it's hands down my favorite Swords and Sandals movie. So, yeah, that was my top 10 favorite Swords and Sandals movies. So in the comment section below, please tell me what are your top 10 favorite Swords and Sandals movie. Comment below. Let me know. And as always, for this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.